I am slightly mad at you. I know you have a job to do, but you know how much I love Rob. So.
Trust me, that was a brutal.
What is that? I mean, not that you ever get numb to it because you just can't. But like, what is that? What does that have? Twice this year you've had to make, or twice this off season you've had to make those calls. Like, what is that like?
Well, I would say that every time you make calls like that, you're probably shaving years off your own career, right? It just is really difficult, really hard. It's been a pleasure to watch him grow from his first couple days in and out of Boston to what he became as a player. He was always a great teammate. Always, was a person that gave of himself for the team. And really, I thought grew a lot as a player, and will continue to. It's super hard to, make that call. It's super hard to move. Marcus and Rob are, two people that I consider to be two of my favorites. And I know we're not supposed to play favorites, but just because I watched them from the time they were young, and they were here a long time. So yeah, it's really hard. The only thing that makes you do that is when Jrue Holiday becomes available that you couldn't have anticipated. Mm-hmm. And so, or I guess you were hopeful that at some time that would happen. But as I said in the live stream just now, I mean, I walked into Danny's office most of my years and would ask, is Jrue Holiday available? Is there a way? Just because he's such a fit for a team and how a team wins and how many positions he can guard, how he can pass, how he can score, his character, all that stuff. And so when you have a guy like that becomes available, there's a hefty price.
How quickly, when you see everything going down in Milwaukee, are you in touch with Portland? Is that something that you're like, we can't wait on this? These players don't come.
Well, the good news is you're in touch with a lot of these people all year round, and so just to maintain contact. There's several communications long before this became available. You do start doing the math on, hey, if Lillard gets traded somewhere other than Miami, there might be contracts that have to be traded and moved to make it work. And if those happen, then will Portland keep them based on where they are? And I knew he liked our guys, and so we were talking pretty quickly. But it's one of those things. There's a lot of teams probably talking to him pretty quickly.
How will he change you guys?
Well, I think the biggest thing, and what's like change, we were really good, and we want to continue to be really good. We obviously have our ultimate goal. That's clear. Now we have to just dive into the process, dive into what everybody needs to do to make our team the best it can be, so we can be the last team standing. We've been knocking on that door, and I think that's what we are trying to be. How does that change how we play? How does that change how it all looks and fits? I think it's going to take a little bit of time to put this thing together and to fit it all together. But I do think that we have a person in Jrue that clearly accentuates our other best players, and is a two-way player, and is a guy that had 7.4 assists a game last year, and is one of the best teammates in the league, and it's really well documented. And so I think, and we knew that, and so we're looking forward to having him.
How much he's won the title, right? Like, and for all the successes that the Jays have had, like that's one thing that you haven't had sort of around them. Is that important? Can that be a guiding presence?
I think one of the things that I really believe about him, we'll see. I think obviously having that experience is great, but I also think there is having that experience and the self-awareness to come in and say, like, these guys have been really good. I can add to help, right? I don't need to necessarily go in there and say, hey, this is exactly how we have to do it every day, right? He's open. He's a very coachable, great teammate, wants to help others. That's just in his nature. That's who he is. And so all of his experiences, I think, will be appropriately shared to help, right? And I think that there's there's a balance leadership-wise in that. It's not like, hey, this is exactly how we do it. Then you have half the room saying, well, we've been pretty good, but I get it. We're going to try it. Like, I think there's a balance in how you share that. And so I think he's the perfect person to balance that.
How important? I mean, we always hear talent is king, right? In the NBA, like you need, and just from going from coach to GM to where you are, like how important is it to have that high-level talent? It feels like your roster moves this offseason were generally geared towards getting the highest level of player that you can add.
Well, I think talent's a king to an extent. For me, the thing that pushed this, the willingness to pay the price we paid was the talent plus competitive character. Like that's just the character aspect of it's huge.
How do you deal? So one of the things that your team is, I mean, you've faced it for a while now, but expectations are there, and now maybe more so than ever. How do you think your team will respond to that?
It's one thing that they've dealt with for a long time. So I think we have really good people in that locker room. I don't think there's going to be anything but the desire to do well together. I don't think we're a perfect team yet. I think we'll have to grow and build, and we'll see. We'll probably have our struggles early. I don't think this team will freak out when it's not going well, right? I think this team will stay the course and continuously get better. And then hopefully, we play our best at the end of the season, which we didn't do last year. And so we'll see how it all plays out. It's a long year, and it's October. Is it October 2nd?
I think so. I mean,
man, it's a long year. So we'll see how it looks.
It's wild. You guys, everything before media day too. Like it always just seems like we show up here and it's a whole new wrinkle going on. Paul Pierce got to work out with Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
What from afar do you like in seeing that when you see like a legend kind of working out with one of your?
I do, and from everything I heard, Paul loved it. Yeah. And because I think the way that Tatum told me about it was that Sam went out to visit Tatum, brought Paul with him. And then when Sam left to go back home, Paul just kept coming. And that was like, I think they both really enjoyed being around each other. I think Paul really likes Jason. Jason really admires Paul. He's got again, like a person that you can learn a lot from and like is super invested in the Celtics, right? And that matters to our guys a lot. So, that was cool to watch. And Jason and I were talking about that a couple weeks ago, and he kind of told me how that all came to fruition. I had no idea. It's not like we set it up or anything.
Yeah,
Sam did a good job of connecting.
That's cool that you like organically, right? Like
yeah, that's right.
And good coaching hire to add Sam to the mix.
Sam's great.